What if Superman punched Darkseid with his full power? What if Batman sat on the Mobius Chair and became the god of knowledge? What if Shazam, carrying a bomb to save the whole world, flew into the sky and shouted Shazam? These are the kind of moments that I and hardcore DC fans like me dream of seeing someday in live-action movies. And honestly, this is only possible if James Gunn's DC universe gets properly established. And maybe that beginning has already started, something that is making fans hopeful again. Because for the first time this year, DC actually beat Marvel on the big screen. But that's not the only thing. There are multiple pieces of evidence showing how DC can actually dominate the superhero genre in the coming years. So let's start from the launch that really landed. When the announcement first came that James Gunn, along with his friend Peter Safran, would be running the brand new DC universe, it was made very clear that this new DCU would follow an intermixing pattern, meaning movies, shows, animation, everything would be interconnected. And within just a year and a half, they actually delivered on this. When Creature Commandos was revealed, we saw how the actors who were voicing characters in animation were the exact same actors playing those characters in live action. For example, in Superman, we saw Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. The transition between mediums was completely seamless. No recasting, no changes. And the best part was yet to come. Right after Creature Commandos came Superman. This movie established the entire tonal baseline of the DCU, humanity and hope, slightly cosmic, but still very character-driven. And the moment it released, the DCU banner went straight to the top. Now, people might compare Superman's box office numbers to Man of Steel, but this movie delivered a completely new message. Kindness is the new punk rock, and the impact was huge. After watching the movie, people started picking up Superman comics again. After seeing Krypto on screen, dog adoptions actually went up, and Superman has once again become the true symbol of hope. So any day now, we can safely say that this Superman movie is a win. But right after that, Peacemaker Season 2 arrived. Even before release, it already scored 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning DC is dropping back-to-back bangers. But did you notice a pattern here? First, we got an animation, then a movie, then a series, and if you look ahead, right after Peacemaker Season 2, we'll get the animated short, Krypto Saves the Day. After that, a Supergirl movie. Then, the Lantern series. So the DCU is following a repeating cycle. Animation to movie to series. And if you lay out the entire slate, you'll see the exact same pattern continuing forward. That's why I call this the reason of consistency. DCU is actually delivering exactly what it promised at launch. And this consistency itself builds legitimacy. Now let's talk about the creative side. And honestly, I can't praise this enough, because we all know Marvel Studios is currently struggling with their creative officials. Writers aren't giving their 100%. Test screenings are inconsistent. Talented directors can't present their full vision. But if you look at DC Studios, just listen to their creative lineup once. We've got Tom King, one of the biggest names in comics, who has written Batman, Wonder Woman, Rorschach, and countless DC runs. He's actively working on the Lanterns project, and James Gunn himself has said that he seeks and follows Tom King's insight. Then we've got Drew Goddard, who worked on The Martian and Netflix's Daredevil. Then Christina Hodson, writer of Birds of Prey and The Flash. Then Crystal Henry, who wrote the Watchmen television series. And Jeremy Slater, who wrote Moon Knight. All of them are part of the DCU, and James Gunn handpicked each of them. These are not random hires. These are highly established names in comics, film, and television, and together they can craft a cohesive and impactful interconnected universe. And if you want proof of how DC will dominate creatively, just look at the upcoming Lantern series. Its showrunner is Chris Mundy, the same guy behind True Detective. And of course, Tom King is also involved. Now, if we talk movies, like the upcoming Supergirl, its director is Craig Gillespie, the guy behind I, Tonya, and Cruella. Both stylish, character-driven films with complex protagonists. So clearly, DCU isn't playing safe bets. They're taking bold swings with visionaries. Now the next big point, no more project confusion. Like we said earlier, the DCU is a true cross-medium universe. Movies, shows, and animation all tied together. Same actors, same characters, across every medium. But here's another genius aspect. Elseworlds. Officially announcing Elseworlds was one of the most mind-blowing decisions in superhero cinema, because Elseworlds keeps DC tied to its comic book roots. Sure, the DCU is a cohesive, interconnected universe, but DC's comics are filled with countless standalone masterpieces beyond that. That's where Elseworlds comes in. If a director or writer has a killer idea that doesn't fit the main DCU timeline, it goes straight into Elseworlds. And the best part? James Gunn and DC Studios don't interfere in these projects at all, meaning DC can fully tap into its complete comic potential. Marvel simply can't do this. Their cinematic universe structure creates instant continuity and brand confusion if they try something outside. But DC avoids this entirely through Elseworlds. Now let's talk about icons with curveballs. Look closely at the DCU slate and you'll notice a clear divide. On one side, iconic characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, the recognizable faces grounding the franchise. On the other, odd, lesser-known characters like Clayface, Swamp Thing, and Booster Gold, expanding the universe and the genre. And some people might ask, why waste time on lesser knowns? Why not just keep pushing Flash and Aquaman? Well, remember how Marvel messed up in Phase 4? They introduced back-to-back unknowns with no balance. Bringing new characters is necessary, but sequencing is everything. That's why DC went Creature Commandos to Superman. One lesser known, one iconic. This keeps audiences entertained while also expanding the roster, and at the same time, it expands the genre. Marvel expanded their genre in phases 1 and 2 through grounded projects. Then, suddenly, phase 3 was overloaded with mystic and cosmic. By phase 4, it was pure multiverse chaos. Projects like Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night felt completely disconnected. This is the danger of not expanding genre properly, but DC is avoiding that mistake from the start. Chapter 1. Gods and Monsters already shows this balance. Creature Commandos, Monster, Horror, Superman, Humanity, and Hope. Peacemaker rated anti-hero satire. Supergirl, Cosmic Revenge. Clayface body horror. Lanterns, grounded thrill. Swamp Thing, gothic horror. Paradise Lost, a Game of Thrones style fantasy. They're laying the genre foundation wide open so they can easily bring in new characters later. Now the next point, a visible plan. This is actually the biggest reason for DCU's strong ratings so far. Let's look at Marvel. They've been forced to change their strategy, scaling back television, animation, and movies. But they're still stuck with projects they announced without proper scripts, like Ironheart, Wonder Man, and Vision Quest, all greenlit with no final scripts. And the most painful example, Blade, greenlit with no script, and Marvel still has no idea what to do with it. James Gunn took the exact opposite approach for the DCU. He said no project moves forward on first or second drafts. Only once the final script is in hand, then it gets greenlit. This ensures quality projects and strong ratings. Of course, the downside is that some announced projects may never be greenlit. For example, The Authority announced, but without a proper script, it's currently stalled. But honestly, the pros outweigh the cons here. Basically, by hiring James Gunn, someone who saw Marvel's struggles firsthand, DC has already pre-avoided those same mistakes. Now, this doesn't mean Marvel is dead. They've also regrouped, restructuring studios, focusing on budgets, experimenting with special presentations, and no doubt, next year belongs to Marvel. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and Avengers, Doomsday will easily overshadow DC's slate. But right now, the bigger picture is about ruling the future. Marvel's cracks are showing disrespecting creatives, not raising salaries for some actors, chaotic planning, whereas DC is avoiding those mistakes, putting their best stories in the hands of the best creatives. And honestly, the future looks like DC's era. Now, at the beginning of this video, I told you the kind of moments I personally want to see. I want to hear the sound of mother boxes. I want to see the twisted rivalry of Flash and Reverse Flash. I want to watch the Justice League properly assemble on screen. But now tell me, what do you think about the future of DC? Do you still believe Marvel has a chance to recover its lead? Or are DC's chances stronger to rule the genre going forward? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel.